Hi, I'm Jesse Smith. I'm a five-time Olympian. I'm also a coach. I coached high school here in Cornell for 2 years, the boys and girls, and I coach under 5, under 8, under 10, under 12, under 14, under 16, under 18. A lot of experience. I've also coached college athletes at the ODP system, and I've mentored a lot of younger athletes when I was playing. I think starting from a basic understanding of water polo is what we're going to do right now. And the reason I'm making this is two parents on my club system asked me how they could learn about water polo. So here we go. Everything you know about water polo in really quick, informal setting. I'm using this. I found on the internet, waterpoloauthority.com. Looks like a gentleman from State University made this, and I'm going to use it. So here we go. You can see their logo. You can go and check out their website if you want, but it's right here. So the first thing we know is that in our water polo system, let's see if it works. First of all, water polo, there's 3 rules that we need to know. First one, you hear one whistle. That means that the player, let's say the player here at 2 has grabbed, made contact with the player with the ball, and the player holding the ball has let go of the ball. And you're going to hear one whistle. So if you prevent the player from reaching for the ball to pass it, you're going to hear one whistle. And then you get a free throw. So the defender has to back up some distance and can't go forward. They can have their arm up, but you can't go forward. You have to be back about an arm's distance. And now the offensive player gets the time. He picks up the ball, scan, and they either have to pass it to someone or they can pass it to themselves, which we'll call making it live. And then the defender can again press them, and the attacking player can use the rest of the shot clock. In 10 under water polo, if they're outside green line here, then after they make it live, they can shoot. They can swim up and shoot. They're totally ready to shoot. They pass it to themselves. That's fine. If for some reason they're inside that line and they get the ball up and get a foul and they get it up, then they're going to need to go outside the line, or they're going to need to have passed it to someone else. Okay, so those are our nuances, but in 10, 12, and under water polo, you have some modifications in the United States. So in general, though, and so 12 and under, we have another player playing. And so a lot of times you'll see this structure in 12 and 14 and 16 and 18. We have this structure with the 6 players and with the goalie. Rule number 2 that you need to know: if you grab a player while they're trying to move without the ball, or you grab a player as they're trying to move to get into a position of an advantage, that's going to be an exclusion. And you're going to hear 2 whistles. Exclusions can happen if this player right here is swimming and then this player pulls them with their hands so they get moved back. That would be an exclusion. You hear 2 whistles. Then the referee will hold up the cap number, okay, 8, and then you'll have to swim to the side of your bench. There's a little red area. In most pools, the lane lines will have red lines on them. So you go underneath the lane line and sit out. 20 seconds for an exclusion in USA water polo still. And internationally, this is a modified 18 seconds exclusion versus the US club system, high school system. So something to be aware of. But what broad strokes? The exclusion time can vary depending on age group and in league that you're in, but the player gets excluded. And that leads us to the third rule you need to know. an offensive. An offensive happens when you're on offense and you push off, or you create an advantage for yourself positionally by grabbing the player. And there's a couple other rules, but basically you're going to see the most common is I have the ball and I'm pushing with my hand above the water across the shoulder. Obviously, that's going to be an offensive. You hear 2 whistles. The referee will point the other direction. We use hand gestures now, pointing left, pointing right, facing the offensive team's direction of play. So now that you know those 3 rules, you basically know everything about water polo. But how do we play? So talking for the 14 plus level. So here we go. You line up at half here. Okay. And we have the number 6 here. We generally just call that the center, or the center offensive player, center on offense, or the set man or set girl. It's a set position. That's the center, the number 6. And so the ball, we're at half. We start with the ball. The 6 started with the ball traditionally because they make it live by passing. Now that you can make it live by passing to yourself, it just starts in the center here. First player that we're all swimming down is the center swimming to the 2-meter line, 2-meter position. The 1 swims to the 1 position. 2 swims to the 2 position. 4 swims here, and the 5 is swimming down there. These areas of space are zones that we use to label these numbers. This is the 1 area. This is the 2 area. This is the 3 area, the 4 area, the 5 area, and the center area. Then in the American system, okay, what we're going to do is we have 2 defenses. We have press and zone, and we're going to say this is X1, X2, center defender, goalie, X5, X4, and X3. And basically, as we swim down, we define pressing. A simple way is that if the ball cannot go directly to the center, then it's a press defense. Okay, and all the players want to be between their player and the goal, but then also trying to reach into the lanes of passing so that an easy pass is not available. As you can see here at position 4, the defender is more squared up in that they're squared up to the goal. Their shoulders, as making a line, are more squared up to the goal and to them. Whereas here, the player is going to be more on a pivot with their left hand rotated around. So they're looking kind of like, just imagine basketball. You're mobile, you're ready, you're looking swivel head left and right. You're facing the ball, but also guarding the space with your body. So if you imagine a pass going right here, it's contested by this player. Whereas if the pass was to land from here to there, it's not contested, right? Because the player defensive positioning is less so, versus if it was here, it'd be more contested, right? That line. Now, if the player was to go right here and go in between completely, this would create an advantage for the offensive player in this cone right here. If they took 2 strokes in and then started swimming this way, and the player would have to follow them, this creates an advantage. So if this player hinders this one, it's going to be an exclusion. And if they get the ball, boom, and they're inside a goal scoring range, which could be anywhere inside the 6-meter line, okay, and to this space, and they foul them while they're shooting unobstructed to the goal. So right here, this player is blocking that line, but they still can shoot here. It's possible to be called penalty shot. Okay, penalty shot is going to also be taken from the 5-meter line, which is right here. So without a player in front of them. So let's imagine right now, we just started water polo. There's only 6 things you need to know. Okay, there's front court D, transition to each, 6-on-5, 5-on-6, 6 things. So the first thing, front court, we start talking about pressing versus zone. And of course, there's more nuances to this with splitting players and trapping and dropping. Basically, what we want right now is to press. There's in the United States, 20-second 6-on-5 shot clock and a 30-second front court shot clock. So you get 30 seconds to play, and the ball gets passed around. Whenever there's a whistle, the shot clock's supposed to stop until they pass it to themselves or they pass it to someone else. And so you have 30 seconds to play. And now what's going to happen is the ball gets generally passed to this side here. And because the player's pressing, they go here to prevent the ball. And then what's going to happen is this player will swim down, trying to get an advantage. Hopefully the defender counterspins and swims with them. And so they're marked. Okay. And then because of this movement, okay, the player, as they notice they're not open, if they were open, the ball would just get passed up and over right here and they would shoot and score. But they get marked. They're not able to get open. So then they can run a pick, whereas the player is swimming down, okay, and they see they're not open. This player is pushing the defender in a little bit with their legs with contact. Why is that not an offensive? Because there's no pushing objective motion that changes the advantage here. If they pushed him so hard that all of a sudden now this player is like this, by grabbing on top of the water especially, or by pushing them, shoving them, that could be called an offensive. If there's making contact and egg beating against them, there's no contact. This player swims right there, puts their body in between, and now this player can reverse skull slightly and get the pass across to the one. Okay, that's one way to get open. Now the ball, as it's in the air, this player counterspins, creating a blocking move so this player cannot get around. Okay, and now the ball lands right there. They have a great opportunity to shoot from 2 meters, which is a highly probable goal. Okay, and also a lot of times this player will grab this player as the player is attempting to shoot by letting go of the ball. That's then going to be called the 3 whistles and exclusion. Or if they get inside water, which we call being closer to the goal than the defender, then they have that probable goal. And if the player creates contact with them in a meaningful way, that could be called that 5-meter shot. Okay, so that was one way to drive. What would we call that drive? We would call that a 2 to the 1, a 21 drive, 21 pick. Pretty simple. Some teams have different naming traditions for stuff, but that's what we would call it. Okay, so if another thing you'll see often is this player swims down, okay, and this player swims up, and that creates the pick. Then the ball goes to this player. Then they can enter it in. So we have the 3 can drive to the 1, which creates movement, just like basketball, 31. The 3 can drive to the 5, 35, create movement. And we can have 4 drive to the 5. We can also have the 1 come up right here. Okay, and then this player slide or swim over there, creating space, which we could call a 1 to the 2 or a 12, and vice versa. Other things you'll see is players can swim down and around, hook drives. Okay, they can clear the space, swimming all the way over here. Okay, assuming the player follows them. Okay, which would be a 1 to the 5, 15, clearing this space. Okay, which you might call 2 isolation. It's creating isolation here, but where's the isolation? At the 1, so we could call it a 1 isolation. There's a lot of different names you'll see in colleges and clubs, but mostly they're all the same stuff. So front court offense, the goal is to get the ball to the center. If they're running pressing, we drive to create a passing opportunity to the side of the set. Okay. If the defense is running a zone, by definition, that means that the defender is going to be behind. Okay. So then they come help. We usually name these just for exactly what positions are back. The 4 is back, it's a 4 drop. If the 4 and 3 come back, it could be a 3-4, a 34, a 7, could be whatever you want to use. But the idea is that these 2 players are back covering this space. So if the ball can't go in there, by combination of using your hand to block it, and also as it's landed, you lunge and steal the ball. So this zone defense We'll also usually have a variation to create an opportunity to transition. So on zone attack, if we're in this situation, front court offense, still all conversation, you generally want to create a lane to shoot, okay, which you would visualize from a line directly from the player to the corners, okay? And then the third spot they're looking is the set. So there's 3 lines. The goalie generally takes strong side, okay, and over their head, relying on field blockers to help with the other angle. Boom, cross cage. Field blocker here on the center defender. Field blocker here that's conveying both this and that line. As they get the ball, we generally want to visually check that someone's coming back like a piston of an engine, and this player can step up. Maybe not going all the way, but going out to decrease the angle of opportunity for the attacking player. Now, if, for example, in this position on offense, you have the ball and you lock this line, okay, maybe you have this defender also field block. Blocking that line, the goalie's center, these guys are blocking cross cage, and the team here, this player is not involved, so they would slide up and try to slide to create a line where they could score. Boom. No one's guarding that line, right? So this player fakes, passes the ball here. This player catches and shoots, and it's going to be a probable goal. Probable goal. So what would happen here is probably this player needs to set their hips in a way that as they're back, they would slide and try to take this block, okay? Or you might see a split where this player comes off and creates pressure here, okay? This player could drive down, which would force this player to come back. And now this player can go to this player, preventing it from scoring. The center defender is on this side. The ball can go here, okay? Or it could go here, or it could go there. So as this is happening, this center defender needs to communicate. Press to the 4 and to the 5. And when it goes down to the 1, then we yell press again. What can happen? The 3 can go here, and the 1 can go there. And now we're pressed. This is like a trap defense. Okay, but you only have 30 seconds to run this, and about 12 of those seconds are spent swimming to the other side. So, transition from this position as the clock's coming down, and this player shoots from a low angle shot. Okay, with the player out there maybe. The ball gets taken by the goalie. Now we need the players to counterattack. This player needs to swim down to the right from their perspective, swim to the left. Maybe this player is going to swim down. This player is going to swim down. This player is swimming down. This player is swimming down. And where this went with this player saw this and needs to swim. This player needs to swim. Okay. And so what you might have now that blue is on defense is some slight advantage some places, right? Some slight advantage. And what we're going to see is we want the first 3 players down to go left, right, and middle. Okay. Left, right, and middle. So they're going down. This player stays with them. And then you adjust for the counter, 4 in the front line. Okay, this player is going down. These players swim. 4 in the front line, and this guy's trailing. Okay, so then from here, we have the 4 in the front line. It's clear this player is going to have an advantage. Okay, so going down, attack the goal down here. So what we want to see is this player come back. This player shift up. This player's in the middle of these. This player comes back slightly. This player comes back. And what we want to see, the goalie is going to pass the ball usually this side of the field because most people are right-handed. And so that this player getting the ball down can pass and everyone can catch and shoot pretty well. Okay, pretty well. So now that we're in this position, this is what we call the counter transition or 6-on-5. And what you're going to see is because we are pressing, usually you'll have one player advantage, the 6-on-5 counter attack. From here, what we're going to do is see the ball will be attacked. Usually they'll pass. So we'll have one pass. Say it gets passed here. What we want is that player to go out and this player to come here. So that then they force it over here. And now we attack again. Attack out. This player is coming here. And meanwhile, they're swimming. He's coming back. Swimming as hard as you can. And now finally, as the ball comes back over to this side, player's there. Now we transition into a press. Okay, now whoever the center, let's say that this guy's not the center. Okay, so he can swim out this way or he can swim out that way. We don't go backwards though. We don't go up here. This is wrong to go up here, to move backwards. We don't do that. Instead, we go out here or the other way. Defender stays, and now we're pressing. And the offense has to balance out. They can do that in a couple of ways. Because probably we're pressing. Okay, this player can release for the ball, and there's a lot of space for them to play. So they'll probably be able to get a pass, and then they would be open, right? So what we want is we want to press them and foul. And if we were to foul, then we could stair step back. This guy's the closest, and now this guy's guarding two people, and this player's more behind here. We're in a zone. And if they pass it all the way over here, now we're back into a press. This guy swims out, and this guy goes up, and now we're pressing again. And that's the game. You're just trying to whittle down that time, right? So it took them 12 seconds to swim down. Now it takes them 5 seconds to pass it over. There was a foul, and the player stair stepped back. So now they passed it all the way over here. Now it's another 5 seconds. And that's kind of the style of systematic play that we're doing. So when they balance out, let's say this guy swims here and swims here, and this guy gets pushed out. Okay, and this guy slides up to get a better shooting angle. And this guy's here, and I slid out. And these guys are working really hard. What we're going to have is these two, the center and center defender, are egg-beating really hard. So they're pushing this defender back. Pushing them back. Okay, and now you have a lot of space right here. A lot of space. So the ball can get up and over. The ball could get past quick and in. The ball could go all the way long, and there'd be more wrestling where maybe an exclusion would be called. But ultimately, that's one system. If, for example, it got passed all the way over, and this player couldn't get around, they could slide behind and call help. And then we could have this player come back. Okay, and then the ball would go up here, and this player is pushing back down towards the 2 meters, and then this player could come to a split. And this would be a 3 drop with a 4 split. Okay. This player is trying to field block, and it goes up and over. Then they shoot, and then we're countering in the same idea. Down we go. Left and right. This player is trying to come up, so they try to cover. Trying to create a 3-on-2 or trying to create a 2-on-1. Ultimately, they go here. Now the next player is coming down. Let's say it's this guy swimming. He's on the inside. So players have to get on the other change. Swimming down. Okay, who's going to be the fourth player down? This is very important. Fourth player down goes to the post. This player is going to spread out. Okay, creating that space for that style. Okay, they're going to there. And now this player is going to beat him by definition, right? He's going to be slightly faster than because of the angles. Ball goes to him. There's a slight advantage. Okay, so we can do 2 things. We could go out. This player come here. Now the ball has to get past. Okay, over to the other side. They attack out. Now this player is probably swimming. They come back. Now they're closer. At some point, it's going to stop, right? They pass it back up here. Now the middle defender can jump there, jump out. Maybe this player is caught up. This player starts pressing. That's kind of the style of the play. Okay, maybe this is the center. Now it's a one-man zone. Okay, they can help back like this. He's on the outside of this semicircle. Not a high likely shot if he scores, but they can drop. Player sliding here, sliding to the right. This player is trying to slide for position. This player swims out. Player rotates up. Now there's space here. Maybe the center is pushing them back. Maybe instead they're pushing them out. And that's basically how you play water polo. Front court defense and front court offense. Now there's an exclusion. Okay. Let's say that this guy pressed and this guy pressed. Ball came in. He made a quarter turn. Let's go with the ball. This player had grabbed him. 3 whistles. You're swimming out. He swims out. This player has a foul. He can't shoot. He's inside 6 meters. So he gets up, passes right here. Oh no, now he's wide open. He's sliding middle. Who's got to get him? Everyone crashes back to the center to create, just like a counterattack, this 5-man defense. Okay, 5-man defense. So who goes to set up our 4-2? You could also play a 3-3, 6-on-5, just like this. You could play like this. You just pass the ball around, right? Slide in, pass the ball around. Okay. Most teams play with the closest third or fourth player. They give the ball, let's say, give the ball here, swim in. This player slides over. Closest player goes in. Now they're in that 4-2. In 1400 plus water polo, there's also a box here. Okay, there's a box, so you can just go inside, outside that box. You're inside the 2-meter line, but outside the box. There's a box right here. It's about 1 meter outside the goal. Okay, and then you're trying to find angles. You pass to here. This player slides up. This player's got to stay on that line. This player maybe slides middle, slides out. Okay, trying to find these corners because it's hard for the goalie to reach those. And that's why all the field blockers are on those lines, okay? This player comes in. So that's everything. That was 30 minutes. It's a lot of water polo. When they come even, okay, you can imagine that 20 seconds are up and they had 30 seconds on the shot clock when they started for some reason. Okay, this player comes in. Oh, they restarted in the United States to 30. So this goes there. He swims out to there. This player goes there. They swim to there. This player shooting the ball slowly gets attacked. Okay, where you're going to hear, we're even. Go, go, go. Okay, that's basically water polo. All you need to know, tactics, rules, and everything.